3, 2, 1.
Hello everybody, welcome to MTG The Stack! My name is Trigger.
I'm neonmushroom, you know me.
And last time you saw the two of us on a couch, we were doing the Commander's Legends special gameplay video.
Which must have come out like, what, a month and a half ago at this point? 2 months?
Eternity
ago.
Oh, this is the fourth take we've taken because I am a potty mouth. Last time we did this, I played the Planeswalker, Guy played the Comedic Genius, Ajdin was there. This time around, we were playing with the brand new Commanders coming out in the new set.
Kaldheim, you guys saw that we uploaded a video like a week ago now. It was for the Kaldheim budget game. We played 4 of the uncommon commanders. I believe it was Vega, Finn, Agar, and Narfi. Guy played Narfi. It was a sweet game. We want to do this type of video. Again, you're seeing our faces in the same place, which is going to mean something that's going to be a bit of a motif. We're going to do the thingy we did in the last video, so hopefully you guys like that. It's still a budget game. These commanders aren't uncommon except for one of our commanders because he's a contrarian. And I don't know, man. I want to play some Magic with the new Kaldheim stuff, and we're going to do that.
We hope you enjoyed today's gameplay video. We hope you enjoyed the commentary. We hope you enjoyed the personalities like Guy and Ajdin. We think they're pretty cool. I'm excited to see you in the comments down below. And with all of that said...
We can't revisit memes. We don't do that here.
The best part about doing this footage is we don't have to use any of this. Fuck you.
Please tell me you're rolling. How do I play cheap good spells?
I played fucking Soul's Attendant in there. You know the last time I cast a Soul's Attendant was? Never. Alright, Dickie McGee, tell me, who's your commander?
My commander is Lathril, Blade of the Elves. Mr. Guy Scott, how are you doing today?
Guy Scott, who's your commander?
Magda, the Brazen Outlaw.
Good morning, Ajdin Arnautovic.
Good morning.
So, tell me, who's your commander?
Calvin Traeger, how you doing today?
I'm here.
Shut up.
Alright, how'd you build that?
I searched the Gatherer for elves, and I picked the colors green and black, and I tried to make them all fit into a shell of less than $100. Tergrid, the god of Fright.
Alright. Can you tell me how you built her?
Mountains, dwarves, artifacts, dragons, good cheap red spells, $100 budget.
Who's your commander that you're playing?
The refrigerator.
Can you give me the whole name for the refrigerator?
Firja.
Why'd you pick Lathril?
I picked Lathril because it was very, very easy to go and find a way to actually construct the deck based around her activated ability.
How'd you build her?
It was easy, Calvin. I took the easy route.
Stare at the guy.
I looked at her and I was like, wow, front half's really cool. I play her, I make my friends discard their cards, they don't play Magic, I play their Magic.
Alright, Calvin, what led you to the decision to play Frieza, the fridge?
The Outlaw Fridge.
What led me to play Frieza?
And then I looked at the other half of her and I'm like, wow, this is even better.
Well, you see, I was looking at the spoilers and I was like, man, I'm really excited for all this enemy color stuff. It'd be really nice if a Mardu commander came. It never did.
Let's find a way to make infinite mana, colored, and then just win.
So it's like Reaganomics.
Trickle down magic.
Trickle up magic. Very true. Mardu sucks. How did you come up with your list for the budget list you'll be playing today, Calvin?
Can you tell me why you built her specifically?
I just want to play old dwarves.
You wanted to play bad magic cards?
7 dwarves.
Yeah.
Come on.
Okay, you got me there.
Come on.
I saw 7 dwarves cast and I'm like, holy shit!
Well, after knowing that I was basically forced into the white-black commander, the only one from the set, My brain went, I see she put things in the graveyard, and she's an angel. Let's play the best angel. Angel of Glory's Rise. Okay. Do you think building Lathril is gonna make your dad come back?
No. No. Thank you. I'm gonna need that. The internet thinks that's a joke.
Important question. Why'd you pick the easy route?
Okay, Calvin, I have a very important question. Just following your lead here. Are you proud of yourself?
Can you tell me why you picked her specifically?
It was the easy way out.
Man, Calvin, you made one joke once and then suddenly just the whole fucking table is just like... But more important question. Are you proud?
Yeah.
You're taking the reanimator shell, adding some really fast spells into it?
No, we're not even attempting to break your mold even a little bit. Just the same thing from you, game after game, deck after deck. Always building these trash Mardu decks and these trash Orzhov decks. You never won a game with Marchesa.
I feel like I was the only one to think of it.
You were the only person to think, man, my budget version of the deck should play this Necrotic Ooze combo, and then my not budget version of the deck should play this Necrotic Ooze combo.
Yeah.
How long did it
I think
take
I was
you?
the only one to look at that god and be like, yeah, she could just win the game within 2 minutes.
Really? Just out of everyone in the world? Or
Yeah.
Well, at the time, she was only like 1 of 2 or 3 spoiled. He took the easy route with the elves.
Hey, that's
I thought I
hilarious.
was taking a challenge with the dwarves, and I made it work.
You're right. You made the commander that had tutor for thing out of the command zone work pretty well.
I did.
So are you proud?
Yeah. Absolutely I am. No dads were hurt in the filming of this interview.
If I ever have a kid, and I was just damaged just now, in a roundabout way. So, how long did it take you to come with the original combo of Pilapala, Palladium Year, and Necrotic Ooze?
Like 2 seconds, thanks to Chris.
Sweet, thanks, Chris. Shout out Chris Shaver.
You know how satisfying it is to play Bloodfire Dwarf and people go, what the heck does that thing do? I'm like, it's a 0/2 1-mana dwarf that you have to discard a card during your untap step to give a +0/+1 counter. And you're happy.
Okay,
cool.
Have you thought about what you could do better
Just in life in general?
to get your dad back?
No, I haven't put any thought into that.
Have you considered starting? So what was the difference between building the budget version and the not budget version?
Okay.
So what are the differences between the budget build and the high-powered build? Or for a different question, what's your favorite package from the budget version of your deck?
Oh my god. Wait, from the budget version?
From the budget version. What's your favorite package out of the budget version of the deck, besides the Necrotic Ooze nonsense? My favorite package in the budget version of the Fridge deck. I did manage to buy into Bury Alive and Reanimate, and I don't know if Entomb got in there, so that's like the obvious stuff, right? But I'm gonna be perfectly honest. My favorite thing that came out of that deck was Altar of the Brood and Field of Souls. It's so grindy and it's just so bad, but it was so fun. That was the first bit of joy I had in the last week.
Dark Deal and Tergrid, does that count as a package?
I'd say so.
Sure, yeah, that's fair.
Get Tergrid out, make everybody Wheel of Fortune. You get all their stuff. Yay.
4 dwarves. Magda. Combat.
Make 5 treasures.
Null Spine Dragon.
My favorite package in the budget version of this deck is literally just the elves that produce a ton of mana in conjunction with the elves that drop a lot of bodies because you have elves coming into play. This allows you to play out your hand very quickly and then activate Lathril as soon as possible.
Or 7 dwarves. Combat. Hellkite Charger. Or more dwarves. Combat. Coat of Arms.
Those are good
It's
packages.
dwarves. Combat.
Unfortunately for me, this is the second take, and now there's alcohol in me.
You need some more?
It's good news for me. I don't have to drive home tonight.
You're gonna need this.
What's your favorite package from the not budget version of the deck?
My favorite package from the not budget version of the deck. Probably the Infinite Mana combo, because that was the whole point of the not budget.
Yeah, Angel Glory's Rise combo is pretty cool. What about the non-budget variation of the Icebox?
All right. Okay. What's your favorite package from the not budget version of the deck?
All of the cards that let me at instant speed on tap my whole team so I can drain game 10 at instant speed anytime I want.
The not budget version was the version that me and Ajdin built. Originally, when I went to go build that version, it was like, yo, how do I do Angel Glory's Rise better? But then the next thought was, yo, Angel Glory's Rise is a 4-card combo. What if we did 2 2-card combos? What's your favorite package from the high-powered version?
And why is it Cloudstone Curio and Darkside Extortionist?
It's not,
Oh.
actually. That's baby brain time. Big brain time is
Really out the Sun Crown and either of the artifacts that do a shoot thing. That's obvious. But have you heard of a card called Lethal Vapors?
Clock of Omens. It's that clock from Avacyn where you can tap 2 artifacts but untap an artifact.
Yeah. Pretty spicy card. Have you heard of a card called Teferi's Protection?
Oh, yeah.
And then you turn one of your dwarves into an artifact. Do you know what happens when you do that? You get to tap your artifact dwarf to make a treasure.
Never heard of it.
Well, it turns out, if you can get away with skipping your next 5,000 turns and then being phased out by Teferi's Protection, it's like a soft, like, I win the game. Or I'm done thinking about it, basically. And that's my favorite package out of that deck.
And then using the clock, you can untap that dwarf. Now you have a dwarf and a treasure. So you can tap those 2 to untap your dwarf, but you made another treasure. So you get infinite treasures. So you get everything out of your tutor deck. I want the easy way out.
It's a little complicated. It might be too much for you, Mr. I pick the tutor commander.
Got him. Fuck guy.
Ooh, I play black-white deck that drops cards when I cast spells.
Excuse me, my commander does not draw any cards. I had to do
Grizzly
work.
salvaged every time. He fucking took his second spell.
I play a black-white deck that I can grizzly salvage whenever I cast spells. I had to think about this so hard.
Hey man, I did have to think about the deck! So, one more time. Are you proud?
Yeah.
You think you did something good today?
Yeah.
I had to think about, like, how do I get cheap spells in here that are still good?
How do I play cheap good spells?
I played fucking Soul's Attendant in there. You know the last time I cast a Soul's Attendant was? Never.
Calvin, I have one final question for you. In the non-budget variation of your deck, did you include Mana Crypt? And cut.
Do you blame me?
Just minutes of water.
All right, thank you for your time. All right, hypothetical question. If your dad had a mana cost, how much mana would it cost you to get him back?
A lot.
Alright, first up we have me playing Lathril, Blade of the Elves. I already explained how I built this deck, but I do want to take a moment to read the card for anyone who hasn't actually seen this card yet. Lathril is a 2/3 Elf Noble for black, green, and 2 generic with Menace, and whenever she deals combat damage to a player, I can make that many 1/1 green Elf Warrior creature tokens. Then, I can tap Lathril and 10 elves I control to drain the table for 10 and gain 10 life. I'll be keeping a 7-card hand with Pride of the Perfect, Shaman of the Pack, Entourage of Trest, Timberwatch Elf, Exotic Orchard, a Basic Forest, and a Woodland Cemetery. Next up we have Ajdin playing Tergrid, God of Fright. She's a 4/5 god for 2 black and 3 generic with Menace. She has whenever an opponent sacrifices a non-token permanent or discards a permanent card, you may put that card from a graveyard onto the battlefield under your control. Tergrid also has the bonus of being a modal double face card, just like most of the gods from this set, and the other side reads, for 1 black and 3 generic, legendary artifact, tap, target player loses 3 life, unless they sacrifice a non-land permanent or discard a card. For 1 black and 3 generic, you can untap Tergrid's Lantern. Ajdin has opted to keep a 7-card hand with a Greel, Mindraker, the Elders Reborn, a Feed the Swarm, and 4 basic swamps. Now we've got Guy playing Magda, Brazen, Outlaw. She is a 2/1 legendary dwarf berserker for 1 red and 1 colorless. With the Anthem effect of other dwarves you control get +1/+0. Then, whenever a dwarf you control becomes tapped, you create a treasure token, and then you can sacrifice 5 of those treasure tokens to go search your library for an artifact or dragon and put it into play. Guy keeps a 7-card hand with a Light at the Stage, a Dwarven Sea Clan, a Dwarven Scorcher, a Soulseer, and 3 basic mountains. And finally, we have Calvin playing Firja, Judge of Valor, or the Fridge, depending on who you ask. Firja is a 2/4 Angel Cleric for 5 mana, 2 black, a white, and 2 generic, with flying and lifelink. Then, whenever you cast your second spell each turn, you look at the top 3 cards of your library, put 1 of them into your hand, and the rest into your graveyard. Calvin's also in the 7-card hand club with a Final Parting, a Buried Alive, Village Rites, Command the Dreadhorde, Survival Catch, Swamp, and a Plains.
Okay, you boys ready for some more budget magic? It's card game time.
Adrenaline.
Adrenaline fueled.
Yeah.
I need cocaine.
Jack fuel.
Jack fueled. Apple Jacks.
Sign me up.
But not the breakfast cereal. Alright, 1, 2, 3. On 3. 1, 2, 3.
Trigger.
It's me! Hey!
Hey,
Wait.
Trigger.
Hey, this is bullshit. Alright. Ready?
Ready.
Draw for turn.
Okay, I won card game, so I'm going to lead on a basic forest, tap it for green, and I'm going to cast an Elvish Mystic. With nothing else, I'll pass the turn to Ajdin. He'll draw, play a basic swamp, and with no actions, he'll pass to Guy, who will draw, play a basic mountain. He's going to tap that for red, and he's going to cast Dwarven Scorcher. With nothing else, we'll go to Calvin's turn, where he's going to draw, play a basic swamp, and pass the turn to me for the second cycle of turns. I'll draw my card for turn and play a Woodland Cemetery as my land for turn. I'm going to tap for 3 mana and cast Timberwatch Elf. With nothing else, I'll pass the turn to Ajdin. He'll draw, play a second basic swamp, and he still has no actions. So Guy's going to draw for turn, play a basic mountain, and he's going to tap for 2 to cast his commander, Magda, Brazen, Outlaw. Then he's going to head into combat, and he's going to attack Calvin with the Scorcher. That's going to trigger Magda, and he's going to make a treasure token. Calvin has no block, so he takes 2 because Magda is also an Anthem. Then we'll go to Calvin's turn. He'll play Myriad Landscape tapped, and just pass the turn to me. I'll draw my card for turn and play an Exotic Orchard as land for turn.
I think she's about to slip tragically.
Ooh, wouldn't it be a shame?
No,
Alright.
That's a bad commander.
I'm gonna
That's
tap for
tragic
4 and play my commander, Lathril, Blade of Elves, fucking animation and shit. That's actually not this bad.
Can't do anything.
Lathril resolves, so with nothing else, I'll pass the turn to Ajdin, and he'll play another basic swamp and pass the turn.
Sorry, Calvin.
Calvin.
Why?
Because you're open and I want to make treasures.
I'm open.
Trigger.
I'm open.
After making 2 more treasures off of Magda, Calvin's going to take 4 damage off of combat, and then Guy's going to cast Light at the Stage for its spectacle cost. He's going to exile a mountain and an outpost siege, and immediately play the basic mountain as his land for turn. Then he's going to tap both of his mountains and sacrifice 1 treasure in order to cast Mobile Garrison. With nothing else, he's going to put that outpost siege in exile and pass to Calvin. Calvin's going to play a basic Plains as his land for turn, and pass to me, holding up Myriad Landscape. Then I'm going to tap for 4 and cast Pride of the Perfect, giving all my elves +2/+0. So when I attack Guy with Lathril and pump it with this Timberwatch elf, he'll take 7 commander damage, and I'll trigger Lathril.
Look at us, we're gaudy bitches.
So
I'm gonna make 7 1/1s.
that's 3 1s.
3 1s? Oh, yeah, but they're still 1/1s. They're base 1/1.
Yeah.
7 3 1s.
Just a quick 21 power.
Pass
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Moving on to Ajdin's 4th turn, he'll play a basic swamp as his land for turn. Then he's going to tap for 2 mana and cast Feed the Swarm, targeting my Pride of the Perfect. Then he's going to take 4 life because its CMC was 4. Then we'll move to Guy's turn, where he's going to draw, play a basic mountain, and then tap for 3 mana.
Adaptive automaton naming dwarves.
Name fucking elf, bro.
Yeah.
Guy will then use the Adaptive Automaton to crew the Mobile Garrison. This is going to make him a treasure because it is a dwarf. Guy will then head into combat and attack Calvin with the Garrison and Ajdin with both of his dwarfs. This will trigger the Garrison, and he's going to untap his Adaptive Automaton. Then that's going to trigger Magda twice, and he'll make 2 more treasures. With nothing else, Ajdin's going to take the damage, and so is Calvin. Then in his second main phase, Guy's going to tap for a red and use some treasures to cast the Outpost Siege.
Con the dragon.
Naming cons. Pass.
During your end step, the land is escaping.
Calvin activates his Myriad Landscape and gets 2 basic swamps into play tapped. Then we're going to move to his turn. He'll untap, draw a card for turn, and play a basic Plains. Then he's going to tap for 5 mana and cast Massacre Girl. Now I have a bunch of 1/1s, so when this enters the battlefield, it's going to start to chain, and it's going to wind up wiping the entire board, hold for the Massacre Girl herself. With nothing else, he'll pass the turn to me. I'm going to tap for 2 mana, and then I'm going to cast Glowspore Shaman, which has a trigger. I'm going to mill 3, and then I get to put this basic forest from my graveyard back on the top of my library, and with nothing else, I'm going to pass the turn to Ajdin. He'll untap, play another basic swamp as his land for turn, then he's going to windmill all 5 mana and cast Tergrid, God of Fright. With nothing else, we'll move to Guy's 5th turn. On his upkeep, we trigger the Outpost Siege. He's going to exile Liberated Dwarf, and then he's going to tap for 4 mana and recast Magda. Yes, he did forget to draw a card for turn. He'll use Magda to crew the garrison, making a treasure, and then he's going to use that treasure immediately to cast the Liberated Dwarf.
Crew mobile garrison.
Crew mobile garrison.
Yeah.
I don't like this.
Yeah, it's bad. That's awesome.
When he crews the garrison, he'll make a treasure off of his commander, then he's going to immediately use those treasures to Soulseer Tergrid. This is going to kill the Tergrid, and Ajdin will rezone her. Then Guy's going to head into combat, attacking Ajdin with the garrison and untapping his dwarf. Ajdin will take 3, dropping down to 27. Then Guy's going to crew again, making another treasure, and with nothing else, he'll pass the turn to Calvin.
I think all we're gonna do is, and then just. We make the sound effects with our mouse because this is the budget game. We can't afford real sound effects. Pass the turn.
Moving into the 6th cycle of turns, I'll untap, and I'm going to play that basic forest as my land for turn. Then I'll tap for 3 mana and I'll cast Shaman of the Pack. When it enters the battlefield, it has a trigger. I'm going to drain Guy for 2. Then I'll attack Guy with my Glowspore Shaman. He has to take it, so he drops to 28. In my second main phase, I'll tap for black to cast Spark Harvest, sacrificing the Glowspore Shaman, and then I'm going to kill Magda. With nothing else, I'll pass the turn to Ajdin, where he'll untap and draw his card for turn. He's going to tap for 5 mana and cast the Eldest Reborn. It's going to go to its first part of its saga, and then we're all going to sacrifice a creature. Once that's finished, we'll move to Guy's turn, where he'll untap and trigger Outpost Siege, exiling a 7 dwarves. Then he'll draw a card for turn and play a mountain.
I love that.
He plays also.
Of course I was. What?
That's awesome.
He literally
You need
plays them
dwarves.
because they're like on the top half of the power gradient for dwarves.
Yeah.
Like there are these 2/2 for 2.
In his first main phase, Guy's going to tap for 2 red mana and he'll cast 7 dwarves. Then I'll tap for 3 more red and cast Dwarven Blood Boiler. Once these both resolve, he's going to crew the mobile garrison using the 7 dwarves and head into combat. He's going to attack me with the mobile garrison and I will take 3, dropping down to 37. His garrison also had a trigger, so he was able to untap one of his dwarves. Then we'll move to Calvin's turn, where he'll tap for 3 and play Survival Catch. That's going to have him gaining 2 life, and since he has more life than someone, he's going to draw a card, and it does have Rebound, so we'll see it again on his next upkeep. Then Calvin's going to cast Hunted Witness. That's going to trigger his commander. He's going to look at the top 3 cards of his library, and then he's going to discard 2, leaving 1 in his hand. Then I'll head into combat and turn his commander sideways at Guy. He's going to take 2 commander damage, and Calvin is going to gain 2 life. Then I'll play Orzhov Basilica as his land for turn, bouncing a swamp in his second main phase. He discards a Dread Return and passes the turn to me. I'm going to play Dwenin, Guiltleaf Dean, and then I'm just going to pass the turn because I have no more mana. Ajdin will now untap, and he's actually going to mistakenly trigger the Eldest Reborn in his upkeep. Mind you, it's supposed to trigger in his first main phase. So we're all going to discard a card, an Overrun, a Locket, and some Dwarf. Then he's going to draw his card for turn. Ajdin will then tap for 3 to cast Buried Alive, which will allow him to tutor 3 cards to his graveyard.
Necroticus, Palladiumir, Pila Pala.
Wow!
There it is!
What does Necroticus
There's
do?
my budget.
For anyone who didn't understand why I was freaking out a little bit there, we'll explain it at the end of the game. But then Ajdin's going to tap for 2 black mana, and he's going to cast Cabal Ritual, going up to 3 black mana. That way he can cast Ethereal Flow. This is going to have all of us discarding 2 cards, but Calvin has a response. He's going to tap for a black and cast Village Rites, sacrificing the Hunted Witness, which triggers it and he gets a soldier, and then he's going to draw 2 cards. Then the Atrial Flow will resolve. We'll each discard 2 cards, our 1 card in Guy's case, and then we'll move to Guy's turn, where he'll untap and trigger Outpost Siege. This time he's going to exile a Fearless Liberator and then draw for turn. He'll tap for 5 mana, use one of his treasures, and he's going to cast his Magda for the 3rd time this game. Then he'll tap Magda in order to crew the mobile garrison, and that'll make him a treasure. After that, he's going to head into combat and attack Ajdin for 3. This is going to trigger the garrison, and I'll untap his commander. Ajdin's going to take 3, dropping to 24. Then Calvin's going to crew the garrison again, making a treasure. Then he's going to use those treasures, and he's going to cast Fearless Liberator. With nothing else, we'll move to Calvin's turn, where he's going to rebound the Survival Catch. He'll gain 2 life, and then he is going to draw a card. After that, he'll move to draw his card for turn, and we'll move to his first main phase, where he's going to play a basic swamp as his land for turn, and then he's going to tap for 3 and cast his very own copy of Buried Alive, which is going to trigger Firja, so he looks at the top 3, bins 2 of those cards, and keeps 1 to his hand.
We're gonna throw Fiend Hunter, Angel of Glory's Rise, and Sir Conrad the Grim. Okay?
Fuck.
These go to my graveyard.
Yeah, man.
Then, for my next trick, I am going to cast Savine's Reclamation.
Oh.
It doesn't
away from
really matter. I'm gonna get this Haunted Witness.
Wow. Nice.
Okay.
Nice.
And then you're gonna sack them all, flashback your thing.
Dread Return.
Yeah.
I'm gonna sack all of these creatures. Haunted Witness will trigger, making the spirit again. And this is all targeting Angel of Glory's Rise.
Yep.
For the camera's sake, Angel of Glory's Rise will enter the battlefield. Now I'm gonna get all of my humans. Thank God my combo's instant speed, because there's kind of a funny, silly bit to this. I am going to get back, obviously, the Fiend Hunter, as well as Hunted Witness, Sir Conrad the Grim, Cartel Aristocrat, Knight of the White Orchard, and Massacre Girl. And that's why it's good this is instant speed. Everything's gonna enter the battlefield, and we will order the triggers in such a way where the Fiend Hunter will resolve first. This is important because Massacre Girl's here and it makes things weird. So ignoring the Massacre Girl and ignoring the Knight.
These are on the stack.
They're on the stack.
Or at the very least, this thing's triggers on the stack.
ETB, it goes bop, bop, bop. Fiend Hunter will exile Angel of Glory's Rise. Like that.
Right.
And before anything else happens, Cartel Aristocrat is going to sacrifice the Fiend Hunter to give herself protection from whatever. Fiend Hunter is going to trigger, trying to put Angel of Glory's Rise back into the battlefield. But before that happens, Cartel Aristocrat is going to eat everything, except, I guess, the Sword Conrad. Then, Angel enters the battlefield. Blah, 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 blah.
Okay, so we are at the end of the game, and Calvin's Mardu minus red deck actually won. Hooray, you finally got one with your stupid white-black X decks.
I actually got a lot of them today.
He actually got a lot of them today, and more about that in just a moment. We want to recap the game from the least impactful player to the most impactful player. You guys know this drill. I know in a previous video said I wanted to make these recaps shorter, but there's more to talk about than normal today, kind of. Mainly because, I don't know, I just want to talk more about it. They're new commanders, and I think that's cool. And based on the way this game went, I'm going to pre-order it for you guys, and you can tell me if you agree. I think that my deck was actually the least impactful overall, considering how quickly I was put out of the game by a certain somebody's Massacre Girl. And then there was Guy, because he actually had some staying power based on the way he sequenced his spells. There was Ajdin, because he had a shotgun loaded and pointed at our face. Some of you may have not seen that. Many of you probably did. We will explain it. And then there was Calvin, who obviously won the game somehow with a white-black deck. And congratulations, because like I said, he didn't just win this one. He won we had a recording day today, and he won a bunch of them. So we got messed up today.
There's some nutty stuff that happened today. But before I get into that, you were obviously the you from the elf deck. So
yeah, I was playing elves, and I did the stuff. My early game was executed. Everything went kind of according to plan. I was able to accelerate my Lathril into play, pump it, make some extra elves. The issue I ran into is the way I protect my elves, and I didn't even have it in this case, but the way I would typically protect my elves is with cards like Golgari Charm, Regenerate, or Wrap and Vigor. That's the name of the card, the other green one that regenerates. Wrap and Vigor, Heroic Intervention, which I do not believe I was able to include in this $100 budget version of the deck. I didn't have either of these cards. Even if I had it, it wouldn't have worked. Calvin played Massacre Girl. So I was able to accelerate out my board. I got Massacre Girl. I kept a hand that was a little bit dependent on not getting board wiped immediately, which sometimes you got to do, especially if you're in a strategy like Elf Ball, kind of, and you're playing a budget game where you don't have a whole lot of backup plans for your main game plan. Also, I'm not the best deck builder for Elves decks, but good start. Got put out of the game by Massacre Girl, and unfortunately was never able to quite pull back in because all three of the other players were doing things that I just couldn't quite scale with, unfortunately. I think that's about it for my deck.
And then from your order, we're moving on to Guy's deck. While in this particular game, I don't think Guy's deck was as explosive as we've seen in some of the other gameplay videos that you might see later this month.
Later this month, yeah, we'll try to spread them out. But you guys, you're gonna start seeing content on this particular commander, the Magda Brazen Outlaw.
Magda's actually insane.
Absolutely bonkers. More about that in a different video because this is the budget version. You didn't see a whole lot of the crazy stuff. But Guy, you kind of did the thing where you used Magda. How are you generating tokens, treasure tokens, this game?
Anytime a dwarf twitches, you get a treasure.
Right, and you have a lot of
Magda's
dwarfs.
Magda's a 2-drop. So she's basically a rock in your command zone.
Yeah, that keeps making rocks.
Keeps making rocks.
She's a rock in the command zone, but then she's also a tutor in the command zone. Unfortunately, we didn't get to see the
tutor. There were a few times he could have maybe held his treasures up and tutored. An interesting thing I want to bring to light in this is that one of his targets, you'll see this if you go into the description and check out his deck list, is that one of his targets is actually Coat of Arms, which is pretty powerful unless another person in the deck is also playing a tribal deck that's better at making the bodies of their tribe than you are. Which is why he probably didn't save up the treasures to go get the Coat of Arms.
Not a chance.
What if he did? The Massacre Girl would not have been able to go off.
Yeah, I don't think
we all would have died.
Yeah, you all would have died. Luckily, you didn't even have enough treasures to do it, so even if you were tempted to, you couldn't have. He was able to play Outpost Siege because he made so much extra mana off of his dwarfs. He wasn't ever able to pull up into a dominating enough position to actually win the game. We'll get into that in a moment when we talk about Calvin. You kind of got to see why Magda is such a good card in general. You didn't see why she might be able to win the game incredibly fast. More on that in future videos. But this is a really good example of why this card is insane for just being able to generate a ton of mana super early, which I was really impressed by. To be 100% honest, I was super impressed by Magda. But in the interest of keeping this moving, I want to talk about Ajdin and the shotgun he had pointed at her faces. So for the entire ending 2 turns of that game.
So for most of the game, Ajdin was actually you didn't have that much impact in this particular game as far as the pieces that enter the battlefield.
No, I tried to accelerate my mana, kind of get out there. I thought I was gonna be more control-y that game, but I ended up just being kind of like a go-to combo deck that game.
Yeah. And it was a lot like that. Your combo was very telegraphed, and actually we should probably explain it. Most of you know what's happening there because of the card they're put in the graveyard. Shout out Chris Shavers, if you don't know who that is, it's someone who's done that on this channel successfully before. Yes. But he was setting up a graveyard combo, including, correct me if I'm wrong, Pilapala, Palladium Mirror, and Necrotic Ooze in the graveyard.
Correct.
He had an Eldest Reborn in play on its second saga. Had it ran back around to Ajdin's next turn, his Eldest Reborn would have fired off, bought back the Necrotic Ooze, who has all the abilities of all the creatures in the graveyards, and it did not have haste in this case, unfortunately. But let's say, for the sake of just having the conversation, it made it around the table. If it had, and actually I didn't have removal, so there was a decent chance it did.
I did make sure you guys discarded your last 2 cards.
We had no hand, so it probably would have made it around.
1 card in hand, I think, or 1 or 2.
No, I actually had a...
No, you had more than that. You
had a pretty healthy grip. I remember you casting
that... But they didn't, yeah.
They didn't. So you were basically banking on that I did not have the thing.
Yeah. Whether he did or didn't, if he didn't, Ajdin's turn would start, and he would use the Palladium Mirror side of the Necrotic Ooze to make 2 mana, and then he would use it to untap it to make a colored mana. And then make 2 mana, make another colored mana. He makes infinite mana, and doesn't that do something with the other side of your commander?
Yes, it wins the game. You tap the lantern, it makes someone discard a card or lose 3 life, and then you can pay for 1 black 3 colorless to untap it. So.
And if you have infinite colored mana, you can just do that to everyone forever, always, and they take infinite damage. That could have happened. It didn't happen. Unfortunately. Hopefully that's something we get to see in the future, because you have a non-budget build of that deck that does the same thing more effectively.
I'm definitely going to be working on it.
So. Vampire Tutor and stuff are really nice cards when you're stringing together a combo like that.
Yeah.
I don't think it would be that irregular to Vampire Tutor for Buried Alive. Vampire Tutor Buried Alive?
I also get to use Entomb and stuff.
Yeah, just good, generally good cards. But you won the game. You did it with your Orzhov deck. All memes aside, he won a lot of games today. I rag on you a lot for playing trash Mardu, but we got. You guys saw how we did it, but just explain really quickly a little bit of how you executed that, what your thought process was for making the plays you did in order to get that set up.
So the whole Firja deck is just about trying to accelerate into Firja, start casting the cheap spells in order to start farming out. Because she's going to pitch the cards you don't select into the graveyard, you obviously build into some sort of graveyard strategy.
Insane farming ability, by the way.
Very powerful.
You're picking your favorite card out of the 3 cards that you get when you cast your second spell, and you can just select the spell that makes it the easiest to cast 2 spells in the next turn, meaning you're seeing at a bare minimum 4 cards every single turn. Fueling your graveyard, your card selection is insane. You can easily farm for the combo.
And then from there, it's trying to pick the cheap spells that will help defend myself against whatever the board is doing while farming out and trying to fill my yard for whatever the combo is.
Interesting parallel. You were using cards like that rebound spell. And it reminded me a lot of the Vega deck, who cares about whenever I cast a spell from not my hand, I draw a card. But instead of casting a spell from not your hand, you set up a free spell for the next turn to be your first spell. And then you get the card selection again. So I thought those are a really cool deck building trope. I was actually pretty impressed with how, I don't even think you did that game. That was other games. You're going to see more games with these commanders because we think they're cool.
I do, at this point, I am impressed with Firja. But in that particular game, I eventually pivoted into being the control player. I played Massacre Girl. I stopped the elf death from elf balling. And then it was just trying to find an opportunity to eventually pivot into, can I take the win? Because I had the Buried Alive in my hand the whole time. When Ajdin set up his Buried Alive, I had Command the Dreadhorde, and my thought was, until I drew my card for that turn, I could take his combo.
Make your own infinite mana.
Make my own. One thought was make my own infinite mana by only taking the Cardikus, but before it came to my turn, I settled on, I'm just going to take the whole combo out of the graveyard. And I could probably find a way to sack the creatures, and I want to eventually get to Necroticus combo. And that would stop Ajdin from actually winning in the future. But I drew my card for turn. It was Savine's Reclamation, which is a way to get a permanent into play, which I believe is what I needed in order to like get the right math.
Yeah, you wound up, it was really interesting at the end of the game because you had a Massacre Girl, and when you Angel of Glory's Rise, it doesn't let you selectively bring your humans back. It's all of them. Luckily, this is an instant speed combo, so with that Massacre Girl trigger on the stack, he can operate the whole combo to go off before the Massacre Girl ever triggers, looping it and killing everybody to infinite damage. I thought it was super cool. You guys have seen that combo before as well. Ryan Foley executed that one before on the channel.
It's a really efficient combo. The reason why you don't see it in like higher power play is because it's a 4-card combo.
It's a 4-card combo, but we're in a $100 budget.
$100 budget.
It's totally fine. Who cares?
You come down to, all right, just start farming myself and pray you find the right piece in the right order. It was, I could go for the combo because Cartel Aristocrat was already in my graveyard. And
you won. Congratulations. You won. You win nothing. You win internet points.
Internet points! Sparkles! What's that?
I think that's all we have for them.
As far as this game, yeah, but we also really did enjoy the other games that we played as well.
And we have games with budget these budget decks, and we have games with these same decks, these same commanders, not on a budget. Like some of these decks are like $1,500 versions of the deck. It's really cool. We had some power balancing issues. Initially, you guys were supposed to see these non-budget decks in this video, and we realized that we were all on different pages when we were building our decks. Guy.
What? The tutor commander was a bit powerful? What are you talking
Let me just get my Cloudstone Curry on my Dockside Extortion. It's fine. It's fine.
It's not just that it's a tutor command. It's 2 mana.
Yeah, it's 2 mana. To be fair, it was awesome. Like those games will see the light of day.
I'm so excited for Magda sticking around for the stack.
Yeah, we just get to keep that deck. That's something that I really like about these set releases is we're going to be playing with this format a little bit more. We kind of like doing it. And on the upside, we get to play these new commanders, and then they're decks that just stick around, and we play in a normal rotation of decks, which is super cool.
Expect to see more of Magda. Expect to see more of Tergrid.
Tergrid, yes.
Tergrid. Expect to see more of
Lathril.
Expect to see more of the Refrigerator. And
Guy's got a pretty sweet Toski deck brewed up.
I'm excited for Toski.
We're gonna see some of that. Anyway, we're rambling at this point. They know everything they need to know. We said everything we need to say.
Deck lists are in the description for the budget games.
Always.
Keep an eye out in the future for the non-budget games in order to see those deck lists. And as always, we will see you
next time.
James Bond.
James Bourne, I'm having a stroke.
Editor, put a meme onto the screen now. Thank you.
You're editing that part of the video, so fucking shaka.
My head's a meme.